Hi everyone. This short little video is just supposed to explain one problem with calculating GDP, and it's a particularly important one that we want to pay attention to. So in the previous one I pointed out that the way economists calculate gross domestic product, or GDP, is they simply look at the dollar value of all the transactions in the economy, or all the purchases of final goods and services, to be a little bit more technically correct. And that was great because it allowed us to add apples and oranges. Right? So one of the nice things about the economist approach is it's a way of aggregating up the value of all the different goods and services out there. If an apple is $1, then each apple is worth $1 as far as the GDP calculation is concerned. And if each orange is worth $2, then each orange is worth $2 as far as that GDP calculation is concerned. Now I want to go ahead and illustrate one of the problems that can create. So remember, the goal was to get a measure of the total amount of stuff produced in the economy, or the total amount of economic activity. And the nice thing about valuing things at market prices is it allows you to add apples and oranges and all the other different goods and services up. Well, it turns out that creates a problem as well. And to illustrate the problem, I just want to consider an economy that consisted just of apples. And let's just say, let's say there were 10 apples produced in 2013 and 10 apples in 2014. So the total amount of stuff produced in the economy is 10 apples in each year. So the size of the economy is the same in both years, right? Because what we're going for is something that measures the total amount of economic activity. 10 apples produced in 2013, that's all the economic activity in 2013. 10 apples produced in 2014, that's all the economic activity from 2014. Okay. Now, the trick to seeing the problem is to realize that our measure of GDP isn't a pure quantity measure, right? Because we don't just add 10 apples with, say, 2 oranges. It's a measure that takes into account both price and quantity, because we have to find some way of equating apples and oranges. So let's suppose that the price of an apple in 2013 is $1. Okay? Well, then the size of the economy is $1 times $1 per apple times 10 apples gives you $10. So GDP is $10 in 2013. Okay, simple enough calculation. Now imagine what happens in this case. Suppose the price of apples doubles, but the same amount of apples are produced. So now, instead of each apple being worth $1, each apple is worth $2. So $2 per apple times 10 apples is going to get you $20. Okay? So it looks like, if we just look at the dollar value of apples that are bought and sold, it looks like the size of the economy has doubled. Okay? But that's not correct, because in each year we've produced 10 apples exactly. So our measure of GDP should be exactly the same for both years. So here's the complication that arises. Using market prices to value apples and oranges is great in the sense is that it allows you to add apples and oranges together and all the different goods and services. The problem is now the size of the economy can change, not because quantities have changed, but because prices have changed. And we want our measure of the size of the economy, GDP, to represent the total amount of stuff produced. So now we have to figure out a way to solve that problem, and that'll be the point of the next video. So this is it for now. Just realize that one of the problems with calculating GDP is not just changes in quantities, but changes in prices can alter our value of GDP. And in the next video, I'm going to call this nominal. Oops. Let me erase this. This is actually going to be what we call, nominal GDP. And we're going to make a distinction between nominal GDP and real GDP. Okay? So we'll leave that one for the next video.